So, just recently, I saw that, according to various news outlets, some guy named Peter Mandelson, who used to be this prominent politician in Britain for the Labour Party, has been arrested by the police. Or, that is, the media alleges that it is Peter Mandelson because it's been seen taken away by the police, I guess, and because sources, unnamed sources, probably have said that it is him. Anyway, point being, I think I think he's been accused of, I don't really know what it is. Probably some sort of corruption, because he had ties to Jeffrey Epstein, another one of these Epstein politicians. I don't think, or according to what I've read, there hasn't been any suggestions or allegations that he abused children or that he participated in sex trafficking and rapes and any of that sort. It was more receiving money. I think supposedly Epstein had paid him some $75,000 way back in '03 or '04, over 20 years ago. They were discussing a lot of politics and so on, and including sharing financially sensitive information. I think during the financial crisis in '08, '08, I think Peter Mandelson actually was sharing financially sensitive information with Jeffrey Epstein, which, obviously he shouldn't be doing. And, he shouldn't be receiving money either from somebody who's, well, back in '03, '04, there had been no case against Jeffrey Epstein that I know about. But anyway, he paid Peter Mandelson for whatever. And whatever that is, it probably was some shady stuff. Here's the here's the where the persuasion part comes in, though. I mean, if you're on the record having done some deals with some guy who probably appeared a little bit off and a little bit shady, because let's just be real here. Jeffrey Epstein must have been very, very shady, very, very off. Somebody who does all of these atrocious things, don't tell me you're gonna get a good vibe from him. You can't get a good vibe from anybody who does something so horrible and gruesome. There has to be something. Now, I've only seen photos of Jeffrey Epstein. I haven't even heard him talk. I don't know how he behaved and conducted himself. I really don't know. Here's what I do know, though. Every single one of these dirty pigs who participate in such atrocities, it's something off about them. Now, to me, Epstein looks just like the devil reincarnated. That's literally what it looks like. He just looks evil. There's something about that look. And I assume one would get that vibe from him in practice as well. I mean, for somebody to be doing something like that, he has to give off certain creepy vibes. So, if you're Peter Mandelson way back in the day, and you're not picking up on those vibes because you're being deluded by all the money that you're supposed to receive, well, then that's where persuasion is failing. Because you're being persuaded by, this is proverbially somebody being persuaded by a hot blonde woman with large titties, and it turns out she's a hooker or a prostitute or a spy. A honey trap. Literally. And also, this is where discipline comes in. You have to be willing to say no to deals. Always. You always be prepared to walk away from the table, especially if you want a deal and you know that it's a bad deal. Now, again, I don't know the extent of the business deals that were done between Peter Mandelson and Jeffrey Epstein, so I can't comment on those. All I can comment on is the suggested hypothetical as alleged sort of like vibes there had to be between the two. and how Peter Mandelson really must have picked up on that. The bottom line is, and this is the major lesson really of this whole charade, is when you deal with someone who gives up creepy vibes, that's usually because they are creepy. Think about that the next time you're about to be persuaded by large amounts of money, hot girl, whatever it is. There's usually always a shadow with every light. Think about that. If you want to learn more about persuasion with respect to business and so on, get subscribed to my email list. The link to do so is in the episode description wherever you're watching and or listening to this, and I'll see you there.